Texas 31-12 was not that close. If Texas wanted to, guys, Texas could have put up, in my opinion, 45 plus points. I don't think they would have put up anything more than that, honestly. I think Michigan eventually would, their pride wouldn't have allowed that. But if we went full bore in this game, 45-6 should have been the final score. We dominated it for the most part from jump, honestly. Other than a very ticky-tack holding call on the first drive, Texas came out, manhandled Michigan at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. The speed was too much. The play calling was way better on our side than it was on their side. And let's go into this. Quinn Ewers, 246 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 24 of 36. And guys, I said at the beginning of the season, if Quinn Ewers was to take the next jump, this Texas team was going to take another jump. Is the talent the same as it was last year? Is it that upper echelon talent, that A-plus talent that was lost to the NFL? No, but the depth is there. What we had last year were A-plus guys at certain positions, then it fell off to C guys. That's basically what it fell off to. Now, I think we just have a bunch of B guys all across the board with an A quarterback. And in my opinion, that is a better recipe to win a national championship. If this Quinn Ewers of this year went back and played on that Texas team, I believe that Texas team has a real shot at winning the national championship. I can't say they would have because that was a very, very good Michigan team. But could they have competed better than Washington? No doubt in my mind they would have. What I needed to see from Quinn this year was better footwork, better pocket presence, and better passing the ball down the field deep. Overall, 2 out of 3, he has hit that. You saw him constantly moving side to side in the pocket, navigating it that way. You saw him moving north to south in the pocket that way as well. And he was able to keep his eyes downfield, find the open guy in his third, sometimes fourth progression, and get it to him. It was a masterful job. You could tell this guy has been in this offense for 3 years. He had confidence. He executed at a high level. He did not make mistakes. Guys, my favorite parts of this game were when that was not there, dirt it, or you saw there was a couple miscommunications with the running backs. He just need. He said, the play's over. I'm done. You see that at the highest level in the NFL. I'm a gigantic Peyton Manning fan. People always used to make fun of him. The play wasn't there. The guy would literally just lay on the ground because that's what you're supposed to do. Live to play another down. And I thought Quinn Ewers did that at a very, very high level for Texas. It's a level to, in my opinion, he's going to have to keep up if they want to win a national championship. Not compete. He can take a step back and they can compete. But if they want to win a national championship, he's going to have to play at that level. So overall, very good. Now to the running backs. Jarrett Gibson, Trey Wisner, Jaden Blue, 3.6 yards per carry for Jarrett Gibson. Trey Wisner had a little bit, or 3.8 yards per carry, and then Jaden Blue had 2.4 yards per carry. I thought Jaden Blue was way more effective in the passing game, and you saw that he caught a touchdown out of the backfield catching. He also had more yardage there as well. Jarrett Gibson, in my opinion, I said that this after week 1, I think he has the most juice in the running back room. I'm not saying he's the best running back overall. I'm saying he has the most juice in the running back room. And what I mean by that is he sees the hole very quickly. He hits it very hard. And he's hard to get down when he gets through the hole. So I think his carry should go up. I think honestly, there's a debate. All 3 of these guys have impressed me. Jaden Blue's better out of the backfield catching. Trey Wisner's second in that area. But I think just pure running back and running back talent, I think Jarrett Gibson is probably the guy to go to. If I needed 1 carry to get me 1 yard, I'm probably going to hand it off to Jarrett Gibson, which says a lot about that young guy. And he's worked his ass off. Congratulations to him. And it really helps us with all the stuff we've been missing in the running back room with Cedric Baxter and Christian Clark going down, and then Jonathan Brooks moving on to the NFL. So really good game for him. I was impressed. I want to see more of him, and we'll get into that later too with some of the freshmen I would like to see more of. Receiving, Gunnar Helms, 7 for 98 and a touchdown. Isaiah Bond, 3 for 51. And then Matthew Golden, Mr. Consistent, 6 receptions, 41 yards and a touchdown. Guys, I have nailed what I thought was going to happen with Texas this year. I have absolutely nailed it. At the season, when we can digest this, I may just put out a video. I'll cut it up and show you where I was right, because I said after SEC Media Days, Mark asked me on the main channel, who are the 2 guys you expect to take a big jump, or who are some guys you expect to take a big jump? I gave 1 on offense and I gave 1 on defense. I said Gunnar Helm would take the jump. I was wrong on Gunnar Helm last year. Gunnar Helm going into the season last year, I don't know. I thought maybe 6th or 7th round pick. And then I watched him play, and Jatavian Sanders absent. I said, this guy's very good. He's very smart. He knows where to sit down in the zone. He's more athletic than you think. He's hard to take down. He has really good and reliable hands. And he's played great for the first 2 games of the season. And honestly, guys, I think there's a real shot he gets drafted higher than Jatavian Sanders. Jatavian Sanders fell to the 4th round, and he probably should have been up a little bit higher. I think Gunnar Helm could be a 3rd-round pick or get drafted in the 4th round a little bit ahead of Jatavian Sanders. I've been wildly impressed. That's why I said he'd be my breakout player on offense, and he's trending towards that way. Wildly, wildly impressed. He's really hard to take down. You saw Michigan have serious issues taking down Gunnar Helm when the first guy got there. It took multiple guys to take him down. Thoroughly impressed. Isaiah Bond was just typical of himself. Made big plays, made big catches, showed off his speed in certain instances. Honestly, the double move that we converted on 3rd and 11 to open up that first drive of the game, that wasn't even a great route by him. He did not sell the double move very well, but with his speed, he was still able to get open. So his route running definitely needs to get a little bit better. But then the guy that I'm in love with, the guy I told people, and I saw Orange Bloods do this, I saw Inside Texas do this, I saw On Texas do this. I told you, I was the only one saying Matthew Golden, Matthew Golden, Matthew Golden. I had him as the number 2 wide receiver the whole time. I said he'd finish on number 2 in snaps because he is Mr. Reliable. He's a good blocker. He's a good pass catcher. He knows where to sit down in the zone. He has enough speed to keep you honest, and he's a good route runner. He is the quintessential B-plus wide receiver. There's nothing too flash about him. He's not going to kill you in any one aspect, but he's just damn good and damn good reliable. And I love the guy. I do. I've had a man crush on him since I watched him at Houston. I was thoroughly impressed. When he jumped in the portal, I wanted them to make him a priority, and they did. And it's turned out wonderfully because guess what, guys? Juice Wells, I don't think is producing as well at Ole Miss. CJ Daniels, I don't think has done much at all at LSU. And then Deion Burks has been pretty good for Oklahoma, but they put Matthew Golden a priority over those guys, and they should have, and he's nailed it. I freaking love Matthew Golden. I think he's going to be an NFL guy after this season. If not, he will be after the next season. I would love to keep him around for 2 seasons with the wide receiver rooms we have next year with Arch. I would love it. But I think this guy's going to make too much money this year. I think he's probably a 3rd-round pick, and I think he's going to have a long, successful career in the NFL. I really believe that. I love this guy. He's my favorite wide receiver on the team. I don't know why people wrote him off when talking wide receivers, but everything you heard out of camp, plus the tape, told me he was going to be big for this Texas offense, and he's been big for this Texas offense. Next up, let's go to the offensive line. Might be the best game Jake Majors has ever had as a Texas Longhorn. I was thoroughly impressed. He was able to move guys, not even in double teams. He was able to move Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham at times just by himself. Thoroughly impressed with him. I looked at the Pro Football Focus grade. Listen, guys, I think Pro Football Focus does a really good job with skill players, quarterbacks, cornerbacks, stuff like that. They do not understand the line of scrimmage. They do not understand the line of scrimmage. Jake Majors had a phenomenal game. He had like a 60-something grade. That's bullshit to me. I watch it with my eyes. I think I know more than most of those guys, honestly, what they're seeing and what they're grading. I thought he was phenomenal. Kelvin Banks had, just in general, the offensive line had a very good game. Cam Williams, I love what Steve Sarkisian did. Apparently, he gave him a hug after a couple procedural penalties, and he should have. I don't have an issue or that big of an issue with Cam Williams. I really don't. He had a somewhat rough game before the plays were actually called. When the plays were called, he played pretty well. I have no issues with how he played. Procedural penalties he'll have to work on, but it was his second start at Michigan. I'm not going to get that upset about it. I'm just not. Needs to clean it up. I thought the holding call was bullshit, honestly, so I'm not even really angry at that, but the false starts need to be better, and we need to stay out of 3rd and long. We converted them this week because how well Quinn played, and I do think we'll be able to do that more than normal and more than most teams because Quinn's very good, but we need to just make it easier on him and keep it a 3rd and 5 and under. There were a couple I would love to know. I think our 3rd down had to be 3rd and 6 plus average-wise, so we need to be better at that. That is another thing we need to be better at is staying on time and staying on down or staying in consistency with where we are play call wise to keep us in 3rd and manageable. Overall, Andrew Makuba, my God. Finally, we have a safety that's able to make athletic plays, able to break up passes in the passing game, able to make plays on the ball when it's there. Phenomenal game from him. If anyone wants to know why we got him, just put on that tape. He made like 4 or 5 great plays. There were a couple dekes where he did too, where it looks like he was going to sit down and then decided to break on the ball. And you saw that with great closing speed as well. Phenomenal game from him. I will say this. I want to see more Jarrett Gibson. I already kind of mentioned that. I want to see more Colin Simmons, and I want to see more Ryan Wingo. Whenever they step on the field, they flash. Colin Simmons had multiple flash plays. And guys, honestly, he doesn't even have a pass rush arsenal right now. If you watched him, the bend isn't as great as I thought it was going to be, and there's really no moves. He's just a freak athlete. Like, if they can get him to bend a little bit more, which I don't know if you can because I think that's a God-given thing, and then have a couple more moves in the arsenal, this guy's going to be a stud. But I'd like him out there more in real game scenarios. What I mean by that, when the game's not out of balance, like that game was over when he was in, but he flashed, and I want him to see him more. Ryan Wingo, I don't know how to describe it because when I watch it, him running away from Michigan defenders, it looked like a baby animal learning how to run for the first time. Long strides, fast, but not a burner. But it's just crazy to watch him run, and he needs more plays. I want to see more big plays with him in. And then Jarrett Gibson just needs 4 to 5 more touches a game and out of the backfield, whether that be in the pass catching scenario or running. Needs more touches there, but I think all of them should get about 10% more playing time. I'd like to see 5 to 7 more snaps for each of them. You don't have to, you can ease them in still. You don't have to throw them in at the fire. And I think the next 3 games, honestly, guys, are perfect games to ease them in. You have UTSA, who we'll get into. I don't think they're that good. You have Louisiana Monroe, who most people think is like one of the worst college football teams this year. So ease these guys more in. And then Mississippi State to kick off the SEC. Mississippi State's not that good. They might be the worst team in the SEC. So I would like to see these guys play a little bit more each and every game. And then that gets you really ready going into the bye week to play Oklahoma, who honestly doesn't look great right now, but we know how that game is. No need to get into that. And then 2 miscommunications in the red zone. We're 11 of 11 so far in the red zone this year with 10 touchdowns out of the 11 opportunities. That can't happen. I don't know who the running backs were in on the 2 plays, but you have to have better communication there to make sure it's which way you're going. And I put some of that on Quinn. I think Quinn should go back there and just double check and make sure, hey, you got it? Okay, you got it. And I think Sark will tell him to do that as well. But the players just need to better overall, the running backs in that instance. And then I loved this. This will be the last point in the Michigan game. They stood up for their quarterback. Quinn Ewers took a knee. It was a late hit when I watched it live. When it was just slow motion, it was definitely a late hit. And they didn't take any shit for it. They immediately got up in the defensive lineman's face. They pushed him around. And I do not mind that penalty at all. In fact, if I'm Steve Sarkisian, I'm buying you something. Since it's legal now, I'm buying you something. I'm like, hey, what do you want, man? Because I love that. Guys, Jeff Howe tweeted this out. And I remembered it when he tweeted it out. When we played Arkansas in Sark's first year, we got killed in that game. We were getting killed. Hudson Card took a 100% late hit, and the offensive lineman did nothing. They didn't help him up. They didn't get in the face of the Arkansas defender. They did nothing. And I think I'd have to go back and watch, but I'm pretty sure I'm like, that is not a good sign. That is a bad culture if you're not protecting your quarterback. I freaking loved it. You saw them get up in the face of the Michigan defenders. They should have. That is the guy you have to protect. That is how you are going to make your livelihood at the next level. That's how you're making your livelihood now. If he's going to get hit late, hit them late. Period. And I freaking loved it. Loved it. The last thing I guess I will hit on this, I already did. 10 of 16 on third downs. I want more manageable third downs. That's really the last takeaway I take away from this game. Really good game overall. Not much to nitpick here. Sark also talked about in his press conference of a little special teams bust. And yes, our kicker did have to make 2 tackles. Yes, we got to clean that up. Are those hard things to correct? I don't think so. I think you're just going to see Will Stone booted out of the back of the end zone now. And he basically did that all of last year. I think there was only like 4 or 5 possible returns. So you'll see that now. But overall, mightily impressive win for Texas, beating Michigan in Ann Arbor for the first time ever, 31-12. And it was really 31-6. Let's be honest. That was a garbage time touchdown. I'm going to jump into your comments real quick, and then we'll get to a couple ads before we get into recruiting. Sports Talk with Austin. What's up, and congratulations on the win Saturday. Thank you, guys. And check out Austin and Jackson's show. It really helps out what they're trying to build over there as well. They do a good job. That's the best I've seen Ewers play, 100%. It was cool, calm, and collected. Did not make mistakes. Did not force anything. Took what the defense gave him. Kept his eyes downfield in the pocket instead of tucking and staring down at the ground. The most poise I'd ever seen him in the pocket, guys. And that is big. Big. I'm honestly, that's still something I want to see from Carson Beck. I saw Carson Beck struggle with that versus Alabama when they played in the SEC championship game. That's why I said if Quinn takes that next step, he's better than Carson Beck. Right now, he's better than Carson Beck. I will take Quinn Ewers over everybody in college football. Mark seemed to flip-flop on this because he made a video ranking Quinn Ewers the best quarterback in the country. And now, the last time I talked to him live and I heard him say it, it was Carson Beck, Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's not the second best quarterback in the country. Dylan Gabriel has a Nerf arm as a shoulder to throw a football. He's not a good quarterback. He's been in college for this long, and he's going to break all these records because he's not draftable at the next level, period. He's the most overrated quarterback right now in college football. I think Quinn Ewers is the best quarterback in college football, and I have stats and I have tape to back that up now. So I'm going to talk my shit.